There it goes.
Are you successfully recording now?
Yes, and we're already up to 20 kilobytes.
Your face is 20 kilobytes.
That's a lie. I am way more high def than that, you son of a bitch.
Fine, you're like 26 kilobytes.
I am way more HD than that. I'm like a terabyte at least. That's just for my face.
And that was the first thing that was recorded from my end. Okay.
What about what about the rest of your body, Atreyu?
Well, I suppose that's like maybe a couple nibbles. My body's become kind of pixelated at late.
Why?
I let myself go.
I see. Okay.
That sounds like a personal problem.
But my face is still a terabyte. 1080,000p.
I don't even know what that would even equate to.
It equates to a lot. Don't you worry your pretty little head.
I feel like that's a mistake.
You're a mistake.
You're all mistakes. Horrible, horrible, horrible mistakes.
Yeah, well, at least we hang out with you.
That's true, which is probably a mistake.
We're past that juncture by 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah. Not much we can do about it now, huh?
It's true.
So the Nintendo fiasco.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah,
is
yeah.
this?
So apparently this episode is just going to be randomness, but that's okay. So maybe you guys have heard about it, but after Christmas, the a Nintendo eShop and all Nintendo's online services actually went offline due to the Christmas rush and everybody turning on their new wireless systems.
Wow.
As a result, for a good 3 days after Christmas, you couldn't download anything or get anything from the eShop, which normally wouldn't be a big deal, except for one problem. It was 3 days after Christmas! So
Yeah.
everybody was trying to do that, and also, to make matters worse, the Pokebank, the way you're supposed to transfer Pokemon from one gen to the other this generation, was scheduled to come out on the 27th, but because of Nintendo's issues, they postponed it to an undetermined date. Pokemon fans are starting to revolt.
Oh dear.
Which sort of
That's...
actually brings me to the topic of that I kind of would like to discuss: wireless services and networking issues. Because, I mean, let's face it, we live in a time where anyone can set up a server, but for some reason they're always plagued with I don't know how to describe it. Issues is the only way I can describe it. Like, something is always offline. Something's always going wrong, and I don't get it.
It's simply because we can't have nice things. Also, speaking of internet problems, in addition to that, did you know that the United States has one of the worst internet speeds of countries?
That wouldn't surprise me. I think I do recall hearing something about that, actually, now that I think about it.
I wish we took Finland's stance, where you get 100 megabytes, 100 megs per second, as a basic human right. Because you have the right to access the information of your people.
An interesting point. But I mean, it's not like you really need fast internet to get information. Like, loading Wikipedia doesn't take that much in terms of raw internet speed. Isn't it more like gaming that requires high internet speed?
Yeah,
or,
videos and stuff.
or transferring data from one thing to the other. Like, say you're trying to, send something to yourself on Dropbox at, 512 kilobytes per second. That's going to take a while.
Okay, so in Finland, since internet is... Are you saying internet is free?
I don't
Wow.
know about it being. I don't know about it being free, but like the standard is like 100 megs per second.
Oh, okay. When you said basic human right, I thought you meant it was brought to you free.
Yeah. That would be a basic. That's what basic human right means, bro. I thought you meant free too.
Hang on a second. Let me go look it up.
Because if so, I'm just curious as to how it's paid for. Which
You could
Probably
theoretically
tax
charge
government,
taxes for it.
Basically,
Yeah.
like, really, like, literally the only reason, like, our internet speed is not that fast is because companies don't want to make it that fast. Like, it's not hard to offer that kind of service.
It just allows them to charge us more money for things.
Yeah,
Okay.
because they go.
The right to internet access is also known as the right to broadband. Is the view that all people must be able to access the internet in order to exercise and enjoy their right to freedom of expression and opinion and other fundamental human rights. That states the responsibility to ensure that internet access is broadly available, and that states may not unreasonably restrict an individual's access to the internet. And internet access is recognized as a right by the laws of several countries.
So if it's a right, then theoretically you have to get it.
Yep. Yeah, and Finland's was by July 2010, every person in Finland was to have access to a 1 megabit per second broadband internet connection according to the Ministry of Transport and Communications, and by 2015 access to a 100 megabit connection. But yeah, I mean, like, it's like internet connecting isn't all that hard or difficult to upkeep.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's true. I suppose something I've always wondered, though, is how hard it is to upkeep storage servers, though, because it always seems like that is a huge issue for companies.
No, it is no more difficult than simply either replacing a part that is burned out or replacing a unit, and that's not tremendously hard.
Then how come it always seems like things are going wrong? How do servers get overloaded?
Too much traffic, and not enough communications like layout to sustain it. Like if you have a bunch of networks putting in, requests from information from a source that can't handle that kind of data input and output, it just shuts down.
So basically, Nintendo's problem was that they needed to be able to handle more requests.
More incoming traffic, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then what it all comes down to at the end of the day is quality of connection.
I suppose I've always wondered how companies underestimate the requirement for their services. Like, you think Nintendo would understand how much people would, after Christmas, want to be able to access their services. Like, it just seems logical, but for some reason it caught them off guard.
Well, I guess it's just a matter of like if you have like they don't experience traffic like that normally, and it only spikes during a few times of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really like it would be pretty costly to beef their systems to the point where they can handle peak traffic, but then it would be more or less a waste of space most of the other time because you wouldn't be hitting nearly that margin of connection.
Interestingly enough, did you guys hear about the $5 a year charge for the use of the Pokebank features?
I did not.
Alright, so basically this is the way it works. You pay $5 a year, that is $5 a year, to help maintain the servers, and then you could have unlimited storage of all your Pokemon. Well, not unlimited, but it's like 9. It's a ridiculously huge number. More Pokemon than you'd ever possibly be able to catch. You'd have almost unlimited storage of your Pokemon, and you could transfer them to any generation through this system. But you have to pay $5 a year for the services for server upkeep. A lot of people were complaining. Personally, I think that's kind of reasonable.
That's actually more than reasonable. I mean, heck, I'm really impressed that they're not doing it monthly.
It's actually standard across all currencies too. I don't know how they did it. So we're paying $5 here in America. In Japan they're paying 500 yen, which is the $5 equivalent. So even though the exchange rate should theoretically screw up what it is we're being charged, they don't actually change the amount that's required to be paid. which makes me wonder how exactly they deal with that, because theoretically they'd be getting a different amount of money from every country.
I just assume that they watch exchange rates and they just, move it around periodically.
So is it entirely possible to, like... I guess I don't know that much about economics, or at least I don't know as much as I should. Is it entirely possible that they just keep the servers in the country of question, so that way the amount of money they get and the amount of money they spend are the same? Or do you think they keep the servers in a country where the exchange rates are like ridiculous, so the $5 become like more money once they transfer it over?
I don't think so. I feel like it would be $5. I mean, is this place based in America or is it based in U.S. currency?
It's based in the currency of basically, it's a Japanese service. Like, theoretically, it should be based in Japan, but as you know, Nintendo of America is a thing. That's one of the things I don't understand. Is it just one server, or is it like two different servers for...
I assume it's multiple servers, and it's probably the same amount of money for every person, I would hope. Like
and
equivalent amount of worth,
And it is, but that's the weird thing, because I'm paying... Okay, so Japan's exchange rates and the United States exchange rates are not the same thing, right? So
right.
$5 should theoretically be equivalent to 500 yen, but that's not actually true, right? They're a little bit different. I don't know which one is higher, but let's just, for us, the sake of argument, say the yen was higher. So theoretically, people in Japan pay 500 yen, which is equivalent to $5, and people in the United States pay $5, which means they're not getting the same amount of money because the exchange rate's different.
I just would assume they would adjust for each country that they broadcast the message. You owe us this much.
Yeah, but they don't. It's...
Oh, they don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm confused about. Is because...
That's a good question.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, because you think that amount would... I mean, maybe at $5 it's not a big deal. But it just seems really strange to me that they do that. I mean, I understand that the price point might itself actually just be sort of a diplomacy thing. I think Nintendo, of all the companies, understands that charging people for extraneous services causes rages. So they might just be trying to keep it low in order to deal with that.
Right.
I mean, the Xbox. Were you guys paying attention to the Xbox One fiasco?
A bit of it.
I mean, that right there, that is what you don't do. I don't even understand why Microsoft thought they'd be able to get away with it.
Yeah, me neither.
Like, they went up, and they announced it, and then worst of all, like, right afterwards, the people from PlayStation got up and openly mocked them for it.
Hang on, guys. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Oh.
So they openly mocked them for it, you said?
Yeah. That's actually what happened. At the press conference where the consoles were being announced, Microsoft got up first. And basically what happened is the people from Sony got up next and spent their time mocking Microsoft and saying how much better their system was going to be. The funny thing is that because of that, Sony spent very little time actually talking about their system.
That's true. But after the Xbox was had that whole DRM issue, Sony was basically laughing.
Yeah, I mean, they were laughing maniacally.
More people want the PS4 than the Xbox One that I've heard.
Personally, I say screw them both and get a PC and a Wii U. And that's personally what I think, is that the Wii U is the better system, not because of specs, but because it innovates. Like, the Wii many people might have not liked it, but Nintendo innovated something interesting that allowed them to begin to experiment in different ways. And I see why they did it. It makes perfect sense to me. If you look at it, and you see that now, where are PlayStation 4 and Xbox One going to go? Are they going to improve their graphics? How much more can they possibly improve their graphics?
That's all they've done. It's always better graphics, more powerful machine, more storage space, and better online access, and maybe a couple more features like Blu-ray. But
Right.
that's all they can ever do, is they can only ever improve upon that to make more powerful games.
There
Whereas
is
Nintendo came out with something new.
right, exactly. Nintendo actually is like, here, let's do this Wiimote thing, and yeah, sure, the developers didn't want to touch it, but they know that now. That was something that they learned, was that developers weren't really willing to try to utilize the Wiimote feature. But
Right.
then they innovated again, the Wii U, which contains sort of the same gimmick as the DS, where you have two screens. It's
Yeah,
And still-
the only thing I really don't like about the Wii, and this is just me personally, because I know nobody else seems to have a problem with it, is just the very fact, like, the innovation is genius. I cannot get used to it. That's just me, though, personally.
are actually a fair number of people who have a hard time with it. A lot of people who just enjoy the feeling of a controller in their hand, and
See, I need both my hands to be connected. If I have two separate controllers, I can't do it. I have to have my hands grounded to one solid object, as opposed to two.
That's
the
actually
Wii.
why I like the Wii U. The screen controller I thought was going to be super awkward and heavy, but it actually, maybe it's just because my hands are huge, but it actually fits comfortably in my hands.
Good. See, that's what I'm looking forward to.
And yeah, some games still use the Wii remote, but I think a lot of games now are going to be using the Wii U Pro controller, which is basically just a souped-up N64 meets an SNES controller.
And,
Right.
and don't forget that the Nintendo systems have the single best thing of all time,
What's that?
Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, did you guys also hear about Resolution Gate? Is what it's apparently being called on the internet now?
What?
Okay, so apparently the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One both run no higher than like 720p for their HD.
Okay.
And apparently the Wii U runs at 1080p.
Okay.
So a lot of people were complaining that 720p wasn't high enough. The internet was literally like accusing Microsoft and Sony of not being able to put out the kind of resolution that a next gen console should be able to put out.
Right.
Do you guys think that's a fair accusation, or is it pointless?
I mean, first world problem, but yeah. Considering most TVs and frickin' your computer screen can do it, yeah. I feel like if you're paying $500 for an Xbox One, it should be able to do that.
And considering like that's all they've got,
Uh-huh.
like that's the thing that's pretty much the only thing that the PS4 and the Xbox One are gonna have, other than random extra features, is the fact that they've got graphics power in lieu of interesting other
Yeah, they're supposed to be able to boast that, but they don't.
And yet the Wii U, which is coming from the Wii, which was a standard definition console, easily topped 1080p. It flabbergasts me. That shouldn't be a thing. I mean, good on for Nintendo for doing that, but how did this happen? How is it that technically the Wii U would have better screen quality than, the other systems? And yeah, sure, maybe it won't have as good quote-unquote graphics, but most Nintendo games end up more cartoony than realistic anyways, and let's be honest here. I just got the Zelda Wind Waker HD re-release for Christmas along with my Wii as a digital download, and it came with it free, and it still looks great because that cartoony style aged so well. But look at something that was going for like more realistic look, like look at the Elder Scrolls 3. That game, I cannot look at that game without having my eyes bleed all over the floor.
That's okay. They have an updated graphics pack for that.
I'm sure they do. I'm just not very good at installing those sorts of things. But I mean, you get my point. Like, that has fans and creators dedicated enough to be able to go back and do that kind of graphical update, which is good for them. But not all games have that.
It was the graphical update was fan made.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was fan made, but even still, that should actually have been something that Bethesda themselves considered putting some time and money into, because they could have actually made quite a bit of money re-releasing it.
Also, since Morrowind is not that big of a game, it would be nice to see like a fusion of Morrowind and Skyrim, where you could, meander between all of those places.
Why don't you guys keep talking for a little bit? I'm gonna go see if my little brother wants to join this conversation since we're talking about games.
I had a conversation once.
Be right back.
I'm back though.
Terribly. I had to socialize with people, and it was awful.
Well.
All right, Atreyu, tell me a story in Mackenzie's voice.
So the sun is hot? That's all I know about it.
That's all you know about it?
That's all I know. What else is there to know? It's hot.
I don't know. It's bright. It shines and stuff.
But that's because it's hot.
Well, your stove is hot, but that doesn't mean it glows.
Actually, it does. I've seen it. There's a button that says oven light, and it glows.
I don't think it does. I think you're lying to me right now.
I'll prove it.
Do it. Right now.
I don't have Skype Premium, so I can't actually put video on. So, yeah.
I don't think that should stop you.
I think you'll just have to take my word for it.
I think that's a bad idea.
Why?
That just seems like that would be a mistake.
Hello, I'm back. He does not want to join us, so it'll just be us.
Oh good, you missed Mackenzie's story time.
Wait, there's somebody named Mackenzie here.
Yeah. Right here.
Oh, it's one of Atreyu's personalities.
Yeah, why don't you tell Sonny your story?
The sun is hot, and that's all I know about it. But like I said before, what else is there to know?
I suppose. As long as we're talking about video games, have you guys played Dark Souls?
I've played like 2 seconds of Dark Souls and couldn't get past the intro boss.
I get to watch Derek play it all the time, and you will never hear a worse rage than that.
See, I don't understand. I understand that it's difficult, but it's slowly becoming one of my favorite games. I just love the way the non-linearity works to it, and how like your exploration is rewarded and punished in equal amounts depending on where you go, and it's a fair bit challenging, I'll admit, but there's nothing more satisfying than defeating a boss in that game. It is an amazing feeling when you fight a boss you think is impossible and you finally figure out how to beat him. So, I don't know, I really like it. Of course, I'm not as easily frustrated as some people are, so that's also a thing. But, yeah, I really like it. I've never played its prequel. Never played its prequel, Demon Souls, before though. So, how much, Atreyu, how much would you say he rages? Like, is it legitimate, like seething, destroying things rage?
Maybe not like that, but I mean, you'll hear every word in the book and all that good stuff. He might chuck the controller into a pillow or something. But no, not that bad. But it's so much fun to listen to because it's just like all the time.
It's one of those games. A lot of people have said, I don't know, have you guys ever played the original Legend of Zelda, like for the NES?
Nope.
A lot of people say that game shares more in common with Dark Souls than later Legend of Zelda games like Ocarina of Time do. Rather, let me rephrase that. The original Legend of Zelda shares more in common with Dark Souls than the original Legend of Zelda shares in common with games like Ocarina of Time.
Okay.
And the reason is that in the original one, the emphasis was more on exploration and less on linear from point A to point B to point C, objective finding. Miyamoto, the person who was originally created The Legend of Zelda, when he created Ocarina of Time, actually created a press release that basically insulted the intelligence of gamers, saying that gamers weren't smart enough to be able to figure out a game like the original Legend of Zelda.
So he made the games more linear as a passive insult to them.
Yes. Maybe he didn't mean it as an insult, but when I read the press release, I was rather insulted. And don't get me wrong, I like games like A Link to the Past, but I've also been playing, another game I got for Christmas was A Link Between Worlds, which goes back to the more traditional non-linearity, where you could go to the dungeons in almost any order and explore things at your own leisure. And
I'm a fan of exploration value.
Yeah, I really like that, as opposed to just having to go through linearly, because then you when you do something, you feel like you accomplish something, as opposed to just, you know.
It makes it a heck of a lot more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
You did a thing, yay.
I mean, doing a thing because the game tells you to do a thing doesn't make you feel as good. But doing a thing because you wanted to do a thing, that's accomplishment.
Yep.
If your mother says clean your room, and you clean your room, you'll feel meh afterwards. But if your mother doesn't say clean your room, but you clean your room anyways, then you'll feel good because you didn't need prompting. Pro tip.
Yep.
Hey, what if my goal is to nest amidst the chaos of my own room?
Bo, your room is probably intertwined with another dimension, and that's the reason it's so messy. That's the only logical explanation.
Yeah, well, it would explain why keys and everything else goes missing irrationally.
It would.
Doesn't matter because it's not Derek's room. You always have that, like, you know, as a basis.
It's also not his car.
Right. See, Bo, you don't have things like living in your room.
Well, I have a cat.
You know, in the, you know, most, you know what I mean.
In the most
Right,
disgusting sense of the word.
I'm not giving rise to new and potentially intelligent life forms.
Right. At least, and if you are, you're doing it on purpose.
I suppose that's true.
We should probably not talk about the life forms coming out of Bo's room. It's just probably not a good topic of discussion.
Out of Derek's room.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I once attempted to raise this race of intelligent mold beings by combining soda, several pieces of cheese, and 3 hairs from a cat. And needless to say, my experiments did not yield any results.
Bo, a chemist you are not.
Hey, my science class said that growing stuff in my house like a scientific laboratory should be easy. I was clearly lied to.
Bo, it works as long as you understand the principles and aren't trying to mix things together like the introduction to the Powerpuff Girls.
Well, I thought I was the principal. What kind of school is this?
Okay, well, I don't even anymore.
It's okay, I didn't even when I attempted this.
Let me think. What else? Oh, so going off on a tangent because that's the name of the show. I finally got around to watching the Doctor Who 50th anniversary special.
What did you think of it?
I really.
Also, spoiler warning.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm not going to talk about spoilers.
Oh, I just said spoiler warning.
Oh well. I really liked it, and I really like the War Doctor.
You have to reverse the polarity, but we're both reversing the polarity. We're reversing the reverse polarity. You're confusing the polarity.
It's having the doctors talk to each other is really strange to me because of how different they can actually be.
Oh, you redecorated. I don't like it.
They really are different personalities, no matter how hard people like. They're the same person, but completely different personalities.
I know the feeling.
Speaking of which, could they not get Eccleston to show up for that?
Nah, he decided he didn't want to do it for some reason that I never bothered to look up.
See, I kind of liked Eccleston's Doctor. I know a lot of people didn't, but I kind of did.
I enjoyed it. He was in the recent Thor movie.
Oh yeah, I still haven't seen that one.
He plays a dark elf of some fancy name that I don't remember.
Would I even recognize him, or is his costume too ridiculous?
You could see it in his face, and they actually, have him wearing giant elf ears.
Huh. Yeah, I like Eccleston, and I like Tennant later. Like, earlier on, he annoys me, but he grows on me as the series goes on.
Matt Smith is still my favorite Doctor.
Smith confuses me. Smith downright confuses me. I'm not sure if I like him or hate him or both.
Yes. Which is why he...
See, confusing me, though, is never a way to achieve my appreciation, unfortunately. So I think I might end up liking Tennant better.
Well, I guess we'll see what Peter Capaldi's going to be like.
He might be pretty cool, though. He's kind of older looking, isn't he?
Yeah, well, most of the early Doctors were.
Mm-hmm. Well, the first Doctor was, but didn't the first Doctor, live through most of his life? Didn't the first Doctor actually die of old age? Before he regenerated? Where all the other Doctors ended up dying because of stupid?
No, I'm pretty sure the first Doctor just decided to regenerate, but that is not, where I know a bunch about the show.
Mm-hmm. They actually have quite a few of the earlier episodes on Netflix now.
That requires time that I don't have.
Fair enough. It's actually, the special effects are cheesy as crud, and it makes me laugh because, when the TARDIS appears, you could totally tell it's like a model.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just like, oh, Jimmy, I can't believe this. But the plots and characters are still pretty good. I also like how they, in those episodes, they had, more than just the one companion. We had, multiple people. But, no. We're talking about Doctor Who, apparently.
Funny how that turns out.
Yeah. I admit to initially not being able to take a lot of the villains seriously. I still laugh every time I see a Dalek, but it's... Once you're able to immerse yourself, it's pretty good. to give my overall impression of Doctor Who, and then we can move on. And why am I the one doing the most talking? To give my overall impression of it, I'd say it's good, but a lot of the episodes are pretty big misses for me. Like, the episodes that are good are really, really good, but the episodes that are bad are really, really bad.
I just kind of wish Russell T Davies was still the head writer, with Moffat being, there to write his really epic episodes, but, at a pace that's, actually reasonable.
Does Moffat like more of the epic overarching things?
Basically.
Because, it seems like at some point during Matt Smith's run, things turn from Adventure of the Week to more of a overarching plot. Which can be good, but I feel that Doctor Who's viability as a show comes from being able to mix the two.
Which Moffat doesn't really do very well.
What they need is more than one writer.
Indeed.
I mean, having just one writer, that's ridiculous. Even cartoons know better than to have just one writer.
I kind of wish Neil Gaiman would write more for Doctor Who. That would be fun. Or just have Russell T Davies back.
Hey, Treyer, do you have anything to say about this?
Muffins.
What?
There you have it.
Why
said
muffins?
Why not
Why-
muffins?
Yeah, why not muffins?
By the way, what's your favorite type of muffin?
Lemon poppy seed.
I'd have to say for me, favorite kind of muffin. I like the raspberry.
I prefer banana nut muffins.
Ellen?
Either lemon poppy seed or cranberry.
Cranberry's a good choice. What? Why are we talking about muffins?
Why aren't we talking about muffins?
Well, you asked, and the train said muffins. Therefore,
Ugh.
So guys, pancakes, yay or nay?
Yay?
Which is better, pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Ooh.
Why for?
And
Because
if made,
waffles
why?
waffles are crunchier, and I do not approve of the crunch. The crunch is unnecessary.
I
pancakes,
see.
pancakes, if made correctly, are better. Not that frickin' Bizquick shit.
You don't like Bizquick? I don't know. I like Bizquick.
Well, I mean, if they're a really, a well-made pancake and they don't come out looking anemic. However,
Oh, I see what
however,
you're saying.
I had a waffle in New Mexico, and it was the best waffle I've ever had. And I had syrup derived from a cactus for it, and it was frickin' incredible.
that does sound pretty interesting. Syrup from a cactus, huh? Do you know how you make that?
Yeah, it's prickly pear.
Oh, it's from a
Awesome.
prickly pear. Actually, when we were down in Texas, Ashley and I, Ashley being my fiance, we picked up some prickly pear fruit because it was around that time of year.
I think that sounds pretty suspicious.
Why does that sound suspicious?
Because I don't know fruit's agenda, therefore I don't trust it.
Bo, you are allergic / just don't like some of the strangest things. Fruit is amazing and delicious.
Also, that was the sound of my cat being grumpy. She was laying on a blanket that I wanted, and I moved her.
aw, Joey.
She's pretty annoyed by everything right now.
Hey cat, hey cat, hey cat. Oh.
Cat, 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 cat.
Alright, let me think if there's anything else to talk about. Oh, so what did you guys end up getting for Christmas to follow up our previous episode?
I got a Bluetooth external speaker and a deed to a plot of land on Mars. I don't know if it's actually accounts for anything, but I
believe
have
it does. I believe it does, actually.
Wait,
think
what? You serious?
Yes, I theoretically own a plot of land on Mars now.
But
Probably not much. It's not much land, I don't think, because I never actually went and. Oh, I have 1 acre of land on Mars.
That's enough for a plot.
how much is an anchor? Isn't it like
Slightly
around a
bigger
block?
Than football. It's slightly bigger than a football field.
Oh yeah, yeah. So yeah, actually, you could do a lot with that amount of land. There's only one problem: you can't live on Mars.
Yeah.
Keep handing it. Just keep handing it down, Bo, and someone will find some good use for it.
Probably because the prices are so low, but I don't know. I don't think we should be selling land on other planets. That just seems a little ridiculous.
Quick thing before we go into that, I was wrong. It's actually a little bit less than a football field, very slightly.
It's not a big deal. I mean, I think we have a pretty good idea of how big that is. I was thinking it was smaller, like more around a block or the standard size, like of a house yard. But though I guess technically a football field is around the size of a average property, depending
It's
on where
not
you
very
live.
big.
I kind of hope I have a piece of a crater. That would be fun.
Oh yeah.
I want the very top part of Olympus Mons. Except that's probably not anywhere close to where that is.
Does it give you the actual spatial coordinates? Don't you think there's Google Mars or something you could look it up on?
Yeah, maybe. Hey, Treyu, go find Google Mars.
On it. Got it.
All right.
All right. What is the coordinates?
My coordinates are. Oh boy. Latitude is 9 degrees to 10 degrees north. And longitude is 159 to 160 degrees west.
What is the long again?
Long is 159 to 160.
No results. I think I'm doing it wrong.
Does It's giving you a 2, so just let me think. Bo, read it again.
It is. Alright, let's just go 9 degrees north and 159 degrees west.
Yeah, that'll give you a general inclination because it's giving you an area that you own, so it wouldn't.
I still can't get a result.
Maybe that's not how it measures it. I'd look it up myself, but I'm screen recording right now, so.
It's in the area G3 quadrant, apparently, whatever that means. The extreme north. I can't read this because I don't want to open it. And there's. Can you get this sticker off of it without damaging the sticker?
Why not?
Oh, I don't want to.
Okay. Why do you want to take this?
So I can read what's under the sticker. Why?
Okay.
I mean, if you can't do it without damaging the sticker, I don't know.
Weird.
Why don't you want to open it?
Wait,
I
so
don't
does
know.
that mean I could buy plots of land on Jupiter too?
I
Because
don't know.
I totally want to
Well-
move to I totally want to move to Jupiter. I think it'd be cool to live on a gas planet.
But how would you walk around? Or,
You wouldn't. I would ascend to a higher plane of existence and manifest myself as pure energy.
but then why do you need to own it? Why don't you just go there? Because no physical being could tell you to fuck off.
Well, because I'd like to be nice about it. I mean, besides, that way I know nobody else would, take that plot of land. Speaking of which, how do plots of land work vertically? Like, do you only own the land, or do you own the sky above it, too?
Well, when it comes to what's underneath, there's something called mineral rights, which are a separate piece of ownership. Most people, like, who have sold their houses, a lot of times will keep the mineral rights in case anybody who owns the place afterward decides to drill. And if any, precious stuff is found, the person with the mineral rights gets everything below the house.
Huh.
It's a separate title and deed, actually. I don't know if that goes state by state or if it's just everywhere, but yeah. I don't know about the sky. Probably not, because that would be U.S. airspace and all that crap.
But then that gets kind of confusing, because theoretically, like, the house extends up, like, an additional floor. So you're not actually standing on the ground anymore. You're technically standing in the sky. So...
But you are within your own structure. So I suppose if you built a skyscraper, you're good.
Huh.
I'm sure there's height limits, too.
And, like, what happens when I'm jumping on my trampoline? Am I not on my land by technicality?
I don't know. So does that mean does that mean if you're jumping on your trampoline and I kidnap you, does it count as trespassing as long as I don't touch the ground?
So basically, if Superman snatches somebody from their land without touching the ground, does it count as kidnapping? Because...
Well, I'm sure it'll count as kidnapping, but what I don't know if
Is
it
it
counts as
trespassing
first.
because you went... Yeah,
Hey,
I wonder.
If you're gonna get arrested for something, just make sure it's for one thing.
It's true, because concurrent sentences can get pretty ridiculous.
It's true. Like 16 counts of trespassing.
If anybody knows, you should totally post it down in the comments section, and we could totally, like, do a follow-up on it, because I kind of want to know how this works. Do you own the sky above your plot of land, or, like, how high do you have to be?
To a certain point, because I assume that there are, height limits to building a house. There's got to be. Otherwise, you'd be, interfering with air traffic.
But what about trees? Like, the tree in my backyard right now is pretty ridiculously high.
I should get a permit for a 1,000-foot structure.
I think you can build stuff as high as you want, as long as like you have the right like permits and legal stuff out of the way. It just has to be like known that there's a giant structure somewhere, so that air traffic can go around it.
If you're going to build something, you should build it as many floors as you can, because that increases the property value of it, so you can sell it for more. And thinking about it, it's probably cheaper to build a house that's higher than to buy a house that's higher.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like a plan, then.
Wait, we're actually doing this?
It'll be like your house in our Minecraft server.
Oh yeah, well, I just decided to build at the height limit because why not?
Yep.
That's pretty much how this is going.
There are tree houses that you can live in. That's pretty interesting. There's actually a treehouse hotel that Ashley and I were looking at for our honeymoon.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. So, do you guys have anything else to talk about? Because it looks like we've been talking for about an hour.
You're an hour.
I am an hour. I'm an hour past 9, and you're 9 hours past due.
Well, shoot.
That doesn't mean
At least
anything.
I don't have to pay you.
The interest
Actually,
is.
you forgot about the part where in the contract where if you ever compare me to time, you owe me $1.
Wait, we have a contract?
Yeah, don't you remember?
Shit.
It's like when we met Atreyu, we signed a contract acknowledging that everything's Atreyu's fault.
True. That's true.
Great.
There's a Facebook group for it.
Yeah, I know, sadly. That's not... I don't... why you would do that, but whatevs.
I didn't do it.
I know you didn't do it.
It was just done to him.
Bo, weren't you responsible for that?
No, I was responsible for the United Church of Victor, which has since been disbanded.
The United
But
Church.
still remembered in our hearts.
That's true. Carried with us for all of time.
Why did you have the United Church of Victor?
Because reasons.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
So as long as I'm thinking about it, I had a couple of questions for you guys about how I'm going to like post these videos and stuff. I was thinking that one of the ways we could do it is we could split our discussions up into smaller, like 15 to 20 minute bits of video, and then just like, you know, post them over time, like over the course of the week. Instead of just having one video, and then once we've uploaded all the bits, upload the full video, so if people want to watch it right in a row, they can do that too. Or would you guys think it would be better just to upload the entire video?
I like the doing both option.
You like the doing both? What do you think, Atreyu?
Yeah, that way people don't have to commit to a whole lot. I mean, not that they would anyway, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
Then they can. It gets rid of the problem of like, if we ever were popular, oh god, I have to wait a whole week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If it's every 2 days, were you thinking of splitting an hour up into 15-minute increments then, or like 20-minute increments?
Yeah. I'd listen to the video and look for a break in the conversation.
Yeah, probably like 320s would be good.
Mm-hmm. So.
Or 610s. All across the week, every day.
Yep, something like that. I'd have to look at it when I'm editing things through, but now that I actually have the voice recording part of my screen recorder working, it should be a lot easier to do.
Cool.
So. Alrighty then, well.
Hey,
I think
Sonny,
that's
you know what would be really fun to kind of bring back, but in a much more intelligent fashion?
what was that?
The What I Did Today project.
The What I Did Today project? Do you think we should do that?
I think that would be really fun.
What's the What I Did Today project?
That was always kind of difficult for me to do. I mean, I guess I have better access to video equipment now, but I could never quite make it as entertaining as it probably should be. Would we do it on this channel? I mean, I guess we could.
Might as well, I mean. I suppose they'll count as a random tangent. It's not like we're doing one thing and one thing only.
That's true. That is true. I've also thought about adding, creating a blog for this channel too, a Tangents blog.
That would be fun.
It'd be on Tumblr, unless you guys would rather have it be on a different site.
Works for me.
I'm okay with Tumblr.
Okay, I just use the email address to create a Tumblr account for it. So, and we could write tangent articles. I already actually have a couple.
That could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we should probably make a public Facebook group. I know we have one for ourselves, but we should probably make a public one because then we can be like, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and poop and butt plus.
I really hope Butt Plus is not an actual website.
Please don't look it up. Please, for the sake of my sanity, do not look it up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Dang it, Mo!
So am I. I have to see.
Oh.
Are you doing right in the address bar?
Yeah.
.com. Oh, it's not. Well, looks like what we have to, look what we need to do.
You guys want to buy that domain name?
Butt plus.
Uh.
Yeah, I can't find anything about butt plus.
It is not a registered domain name anywhere.
Which
I
is
found butt plug. But
Butt
butt
really-
plug is all I can find.
plug.
Butt plug, yes.
What do they do?
Did you turn around, Atreyu?
It's a plug for your butt.
Seriously?
Yep.
Yeah, you plug your butt.
Why in heaven's name would you ever do that?
It's
Yeah.
a sex toy. Why not?
Oh, okay. I thought it was like to keep things from leaking or something.
For all your anal discharge needs.
Exactly.
no.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking. I like.
You know what? I think that's a perfect note to end on. Anal discharge needs and butt plug.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording now. So yeah, like, subscribe, all that jazz. Apparently, we'll have a Facebook and maybe a Twitter soon. I hate Twitter, but I guess I could make one.
As do I, but you know,
Hey,
public-
Atreyu, make Katie in charge of the Twitter.
she's pretty good at twittering.
I just don't like being limited to a certain number of characters.
Yeah,
So,
but okay, yeah, we'll do that.
all right. All right. See you guys next time.